What's up, guys? So I'm finally able to share with you my very first over-the-board game, and I'm not going to give you the result. I haven't even analysed this game. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through it, and I will try and give you my thoughts as we go, and then we're going to run the analysis. So I've played it through on an analysis board here, but I've got evaluation and lines switched off. So we're simply going to play through the games and let me share my experience. I mean, first of all, this is played upstairs in a pub. It was Chesterfield B team, and I'm board 4 out of 4 against the Sheffield Nomads C team. So I'm playing their fourth player, and I get the white pieces. Okay. So there's 4 matches. Board 1 and 4 we get white. Board 2 and 3 we get black. You know, it's based on a toss at the start. All very interesting stuff, very exciting. 75 minutes each. That's an hour and a quarter on each clock, and it seems like forever. I'm thinking, how on earth am I going to keep my concentration for that length of time? I mean, for me, a 30-minute rapid game is an age, but 75 minutes each. Anyway, we'll see. So let's go through the game. So I have the white pieces, and of course I open with e4, and my opponent plays the Caro Khan. Okay, so I know what to do. So we play these first moves pretty quickly. Play d4, d5, and I play the fantasy variation, which is what I'm most used to, and I know that Caro players don't see it too often. So my opponent now plays e6, which to me seems really quiet and conservative. Right, already kind of signalling that either he's weak or he's a very kind of careful and positional player, which is quite likely if he's a Caro player. And by the way, so I asked him at the end, you know, what's your online rating? And he said he's 1500 rapid, so similar to me. Okay, so first thought here. Now I've already made 3 pawn moves on my first 3 moves. So my first thought is pawn to e5, and there are good reasons to that, because it prevents the knight from coming out to its natural square. The knight's probably going to have to come to e7 and find itself in a bind and get in everyone's way. However, at the same time, I feel like I need to develop. Now my bishop only has a couple of squares, my light square bishop. But I think normally in the fantasy variation, you put your bishop here, put your knight here, castle. That's the general idea. But so bishop d3. So I postpone the idea of pushing here and blocking out his knight. Right? I think I want to develop. I want to follow principles. I'm learning that. And here's the thing. Now his knight comes out, and now I can play e5. Right? So it's like the overall effect has been achieved. Because rather than preventing his knight from coming out, this now costs him another turn, because he now has to move the knight again. So if you think about it, he's got his knight here instead of here. That's the difference, right? Because his knight's come out here instead of going straight to e7. But this feels pretty good to me. So I'm already thinking I have a space advantage, right? In a way, I have a development advantage, because his knight is really only controlling one forward square, whereas my bishop has a great view of the board. So now I develop my knight to e2, I'm feeling pretty good. c5 comes, challenging my centre. c3 to defend. And you know, my job now is get the king castled, develop these pieces. Right. So he takes in the centre. I've got a choice of taking with pawn or knight. I decide to take with pawn. Not sure whether knight would have been a stronger move, because the thing is, yes, it gets my knight into the action, into the centre of the board, where potentially it might control more important squares. It also kind of frees up my queen a little bit. But I figured that, you know, capturing towards the centre with the pawn, not a bad thing. I don't think it's a mistake. We shall see. Knight comes out to c6. And now I play queen to c2. This is kind of a cheapo. This is a kind of a one-dimensional tactic. The idea is that I can take on h7. Backed up by the queen. Rook can't take. And if he tries to trap my bishop, by pushing g6. I've got bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes, and then literally he's only got one move, right? And it's looking pretty unpleasant. I've also got my dark square bishop could then come flying in as well. So one-dimensional threat, and I figure he's going to have to mess up his arrangement somehow, but he finds knight b4 with a fork on queen and bishop. Now this is a fairly good bishop. If my opponent's going to castle that way, it's a strong bishop. If my opponent castles this way, it's less so, you know. But anyway, I've found myself in a fork. So I slide my queen over, he takes the bishop, I recapture with the queen. So now, yeah, I'm still ahead in development. I've got 3 pawns off the mark, I've got my queen off the back rank. My opponent has a bad knight. Hopefully, he goes on to have an even worse knight. Anyway, that's a joke. Okay, so bishop e7, he's preparing to castle. I castle, he castles. Now I bring my knight into g3, so I'm already thinking about attacks, right? Can I get my knight here with checkmate threats? Can I get my knight here? Can I somehow get my queen maybe here, right? With the idea of bringing my bishop in, stuff like that. So be thinking about attacking. However, what I haven't done here is develop. And I think I do suffer from this. Okay, so knight out here, I've moved a developed piece again. He now challenges my centre again. So here I have a good think, and the move I play is f4. Figuring if he wants to take and open up the centre, I recapture with the pawn, maintain my kind of forward bind on his position and his, you know, keeping this bishop really bad, keeping this knight bad. I don't think that's too bad. If takes, takes. If he wants to trade rooks, I can take back with the queen, I can take back with the king, I can take back with the knight. I think I'm all right, right? So this is really the theme of the first part of the game, is this lack of space, and I want to maintain this lack of space. Okay, so now he pushes b6, and I can see exactly what he wants to do. The idea is bishop to here, but I see he can't play it straight away because queen can take it. So he'll have to play like a5 or knight here to mean that the bishop's defended. If a5 is played, it means the rook defends the bishop on that square. So I figure I've got time to develop. So I develop my knight. He pushes a5 and, you know, telegraphs the tactic. And here I decide. So I have a good think here. I'm quite proud of this move. However, it's putting my knight in an awkward rim position. And also, it's on an undefended square, right? So remember, I haven't completed development. I've got a bishop and a rook not in the game. I think that's kind of key. And this knight position comes back to bite me. Now he plays this move, but can you see my idea? My idea is I can get out of the skewer by playing queen g3 with an immediate checkmate threat. So he hasn't got time to take the rook. If he just snatches the rook and gets greedy and goes gobble gobble, then it's checkmate, thank you very much, shake hands, you know. So he's smarter than that. He lifts his rook. Now I lift my rook as well to f3. So now I'm figuring, actually I quite like this. I quite like the fact that I've got 2 major pieces now on the 3rd rank. Also with the option of maybe bringing my rook over here. However, still got 2 pieces not in the game. This is move 18 hunting. He pushes a pawn. And here, there is a tactic for black that I completely missed, right? What I wasn't doing, I wasn't going, what is my opponent's best move? If I was black in this position, what have I got? Okay, and we'll see it in a moment. So I bring my queen back down to f2, okay? He plays rook c8. His rooks are now not connected. And again, I really want to get this bishop out, but this bloody knight is really awkward. I don't know what to do with it. I keep thinking, should I bring it back to f1? But where's it going to go from f1? Could it come here? Maybe. but then it's got no future, can't go anywhere. If it goes here, I'm blocking off my access to the G file, which is my whole attacking point. So this knight's getting on my nerves, quite honestly. So I bring the knight to b3, knowing that he's got a4, which he plays, and I bring my knight back. Okay, so nothing really gained, and I lose the initiative slightly. Now he brings his knight to c5, and the first thing is, oh my god, did my opponent just blunder? Pause if you need. Do I take the knight? I'm going to have a sip of tea. Well, I do not take the knight. Why? Because if pawn takes, bishop takes, defended by pawn, pin on queen and king. And the only way out of it would be to block with my rook and give up the exchange. Which may not be the end of the world, actually. If he does that, he hasn't, don't know about pawn, don't know. Takes. Material is actually equal at that point. So anyway, I don't take the knight. What I do is I play queen to g3, right? Reinstating my queen here. Okay. And now he brings his knight back to d7. Okay. Getting it out of harm's way. And here, I'm kind of stuck for ideas, but here is my blunder, right? I just push a3. Push a3 to stop this pawn coming in and to stop his bishop from having any play down this diagonal. However, what did I miss? Pause if you need. So the move that black has here, and he actually thought for quite a while over like this move, I think, before moving his knight. And then very quickly he plays bishop to e2, and I've given that a bang because great move. It's a safe square. It's not controlled by any of my pieces. Why? Because I haven't bothered to develop all my pieces. Some of them are still in the bloody box. And this is a skewer. Got a more important piece, and behind it is an undefended, less important piece, less valuable piece. So I think for quite a long time, and just play the kind of waiting move h3. I know that the rook is lost, and here my opponent also displays calmness, right? Because he doesn't take straight away. He pivots his knight round. He goes, that rook's going nowhere. That rook is you know, if the rook moves, he wins a piece outright. If he takes and I recapture with queen or knight, then I've lost an exchange, which is less bad. It's -2 in material terms. Okay, he's also lost his light square bishop, but I don't have a light square bishop either because I got it forked earlier on. So now I bring my queen back here and put the question to the bishop and basically force him to take, and I recapture here with a knight. My knight's been looking for employment, so I think this is as good a square as any. It might come in here at some point. It's also defending this square on h4 in case the bishop has ideas about coming in. So we've now got two defenders on there, right? Okay, opponent now plays knight to g6, you know, which is a conservative and solid prophylactic move. Okay, decent solid move. So what do we do from here? Bishop e3. Now this is it's an ugly move, really. It's acting like a pawn, really. It's a tall pawn sitting there on e3, defending my two backwards pawns here at the back of my what is now a little diamond, right? I've got toying with ideas of bringing my knight in here somehow, but there's nothing really on there. I'd need my queen on g3 as well. Ideas about could Harry come up at some point? We don't know. So anyway, now he advances his rook to c6. Oh yes, actually, there is and was a tactic here. And let me figure out what it was. And it involves me being able to take this pawn, which I think is why he moved his rook here. Okay, so I think the tactic is to play knight g5, hitting the rook. And if rook obviously can't go forward because pawn takes, right? So if knight here, the rook would be forced to retreat, and then I grab a pawn and win an exchange when I take the rook, when I fork queen and rook, yeah? So if I was to play this, he would have to capture with the bishop. And then I capture with pawn. His pawn is still here on f5, still in the way. Maybe it isn't this exact point, but anyway, it might have been slightly earlier. But anyway, but he lifts his rook anyway. He sees the idea. Okay, I now figure that my knight is in a stupid position, and with his horsey stabled on g6, my knight's work is done there. It might as well come back and defend the king. Now he comes in wanting to trade knights. I'm having none of it. So, I'm down an exchange still. At this point in the game, I start to gain time on my opponent, right? We're maybe, I don't know, like 40 minutes left each or something, but I start to play my moves a bit quicker on using the idea that I know from like Rapid of saying, okay, just need to make sure I have one or two moves in my back pocket that I know aren't mistakes that I can play if I want to bang one out, right? So anyway, now he brings his bishop back to g7, which is a bit of an odd one. I'm also aware that potentially there might be discovery ideas against this knight. Currently it's defended now only by the queen. So here I play my knight to d3. So I figure my knight wants to come here. Decent square, it's defended by the pawn, hits the rook. It'll go there probably at the appropriate time. But another nice thing is that it's also defending c1. We have an open file. My opponent currently has a rook installed on that open file and also has the ability to triple up on the open file. And we do not want that, do we, precious? So we currently have 1, 2, 3 pieces defending c1. And the queen can come in for good measure, right? There's a possibility as well of, if he doubles up, getting a rook on c2. But so now I'm basically I'm in very much defensive mode. This is the correct thing to do. This is what's critical right now. I'm down in material. I need to make the clock my friend, but most of all, I need to keep the king safe. So he doubles up. Now my knight comes in again, right? Well, what that does is it effectively pins the queen onto this diagonal, okay? Also, this rook, I mean, this is defended 3 times, right? But maybe I've got ideas of queen g3. If his queen ever disappears, right, from the defense of f6, I may have knight f6 check, right? And this pawn would be pinned. So, yeah, I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, brings his knight back to g6 again. So now, bishop d2. And now I'm thinking, okay, black's got ideas of doubling up, tripling up, somehow using the open file absolutely correctly. So what I have to do is I have to clog it up, okay? Now he brings his queen out, okay? Thinking he's either going to force a trade or he's going to, win the knight, but the knight can come back to g3. So happy days. We're all right there. And now his queen's looking a bit stupid, right? Queen's looking a little bit offside there. Okay, plays his rook in here, right? We don't panic. This bishop's defended. This pawn's defended by the knight. I'm okay. I'm thinking now, though, what it does do is it pins my bishop. So I'd like to move my queen here, where it defends everything, okay? And ties the room together. So, but the problem is my queen is the only defender of the knight right now. So king h2. So the king now defends the knight, freeing up the queen to go about her day. And now he plays his rook back to c8. And the reason I think for this is because and this is something I was looking at. I was looking at playing my knight to b4 after his rook came here. So if knight b4, he can't go there because it's double attacked, right? Can't stay where he is because he loses the exchange. Can't go here because of pawn. Can go here. This is an option, right? Can't go here because of the pawn, and can't go there if the knight's on here, okay? So currently he would be forced to c4. Okay, so if I do that, he's forced to c4. Because his own rook has kind of blocked him in. So I think that might be a reason for this move. I now just slide my rook over to b1, just to add another defender to this. It's almost like now I'm just going like this, right? I'm constantly trying to think, and I'm trying to bring into my game this concept of, if you boiled down the whole checklist, it would probably say, what is the most critical on the board? What is the critical factor on the board? What is the most important thing on the board right now for you to do? Right? Is it positional? Is it strategic? Is it tactical threat? Is it king safety? Is it attacking? Right? And being able to read the tea leaves and read the sense of the board to see what's most important, or is it time? You know, that is what chess is about very much. You know, and obviously it's all still decided very often by tactics. Anyway, so he now slides his rook over to here. So his rook could have gone to a7 anyway, but anyway, he brings his rook over to a8. And now queen e3 is playable. And this queen is just, I mean, she's holding all the strings here. She's like a spider in the middle of a web, right? But I'm pretty solid. That's defended twice. The bishop's defended. My king defends everything here. This knight can't come in. And this bishop's just having horrible time of it, right? So my opponent has the material. What he needs to do is he needs to break through. But how does he break through? Okay, what pawn breaks does he have here? This is bad. I mean, this is an unbishopy situation. So his bishop has nothing. Can't go there, 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 there without being taken. Can't go there, there, you know? So how's his bishop going to be involved? How does he win? Is he going to think about playing f5 and trying to break through on the king side? But I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, so now he's starting to get a bit low on time. He's not maybe down to about 20 minutes. He brings his queen back there, defending this pawn on b6. I now decide to play this move, drop my knight into there, because if bishop takes, my bishop takes, and suddenly my bishop, which currently has nothing right on the board, yeah, his bishop's crap. It's utter crap, right? But my bishop on here, that would be an outpost controlling quite an important diagonal. My bishop suddenly becomes a monster. Okay, so I mean, I'm threatening the rook here. He can still drop back to here, or he can drop back to here or here as well. Okay, so we've got three options. He drops back to c4. I now bring my knight around, and my idea is stick the knight in that plug hole and leave it there, and just stop up the c file, right? And just let him beat his head against the brick wall until his clock runs out. That's my idea. So he captures. So I think from this point he goes, sod it, I need to make something happen. He takes, obviously bishop takes. And now my bishop is controlling some rather good squares. Also, my bishop has another outpost here if it wants to, for example. He pivots his knight around. I bring my bishop back now because knight and queen are in line. So I'm thinking, oh, here's another nice diagonal for my dark squared bishop, right? It's kind of nice suddenly having the only dark squared bishop on the board because the board has just opened up a little bit. He doubles up on this file, so we have to be very careful, right? This square, defended twice, that's okay. What about this though? Okay. Yeah, he's not really threatening the pawn, he's not really threatening the knight. But anyway, knight c3, up yours, Oliver. You know, you're not going to get through today. So this knight is defended by pawn, bishop, and queen, and rook can come across as well, right? So I really just want to shut him out. You know, there's nobody home, you can't come in, go away, right? There's even ideas of this maybe at some point. Queen moves forward, and now we both start to move a bit quicker. He lifts his rook for reasons known to him. Maybe he's thinking about defending that. Maybe he wants to move the queen without undefending the knight. So where does he want to move his queen? Well, she can't go there. She can't go there. Where's she going? Is she going here? Don't know. Bishop comes back again. Right? I'm fiddling with him now. I'm teasing him a bit now. And I'm playing with a little bit more intensity, you know, saying, right, it's down to you, Black, to make you. I'm going to make you find a win, right? You're going to beat me. Yes, you're up material, but you're going to have to make it happen. I'm not going to hand this to you, right? So right now, you'd have to say, really, his B pawn is his most likely weapon. So queen comes back again. He's tripled up on the C file. But even so, I've got 3 defenders on this knight. What are you going to do? Now I've got 4 defenders. Now the queen comes around here. So what's the idea there? She can't go there, right? What's she doing? I drop my queen back. Still defends these 2 pawns. Still defends this, right? But maybe, I don't know. I could have a sniff around that pawn, but that's defended twice. I might even think about coming here. You know, I could have gone straight there if I wanted to. But again, I'm just burning time. I'm kind of proving the point. It's down to you, mate, to make this happen. He now moves his knight here, which means that rook is no longer defended by its other rook. He disconnects the rooks, but it is still defended twice. I can't even attack it anyway. And then bishop f2. Right, just defends this pawn. So now he's only got 2, well, in fact, he's now only got 1 attacker on there, whereas he had 3. It's still defended 3 times. Okay, so now what's he going to do? Finally b5, right? His only decent pawn break, I would say. I mean, his only other option is g5. And I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Okay, so I swing my knight back. He's now down to about 10 minutes on the clock. Out of 75. He proposes a trade of queens. What do I do? No way. I'm going to stick my knight right back in that hole and wave at you through the window saying you can't get in. Okay, so what does he do? b4. Right, and now we are, you know, the dancing around each other has ended. And suddenly we're in a tussle. Now it's game on, fight time. You have to fight. So, I take the pawn. I do not know if this is the right thing. Queen takes. And now he's having to use about 10 seconds per move, right? Because he's running out of time. He's down to about 8, like I said, 9 minutes or so now. 2 attackers on this pawn. But it is defended twice, defended by queen and then x-ray defended as well by the rook. Queen takes pawn on b2. Right, so I've just undefended my pawn. Okay, bishop to here. But right now it feels like if I'm going to have any chance of winning this game, I've got to use the clock. So I'm not using my time so much because the more of my time I use, the more of my time I give him as well to think and prepare. And he's a solid player, obviously. You know, he's playing a very decent game. So knight takes here now, okay. And now, if you're white, you know that your opponent is under time pressure. You know that your opponent has got his eyes on Andy with thoughts of promotion. Okay, what have you got in this situation, right? I can't take the knight with the queen. He's got 3 attackers on this knight. I've only got 2 defenders. Right? What do? We have to find some way to attack our opponent. We have to, if possible, we have to find a way to try and put pressure. Now I do have 2 attackers on this pawn, but if I move my knight, rook takes that, and it's not looking good. Okay, so I have a think, and the move I find is rook b1, and this causes my opponent some headaches, right? The other thing that I'm thinking about with my queen on d1, what do you see with the queen there? Okay, if I was able to go here or here, I've got the option of Queen E8 with a stunning mate. Right, there's nowhere for the king to go. So that's what I've got in my pocket. Right, how can I make this possible somehow? So he has a really good thing here. Queen can't go there because of the knight, can't stay there, can't go anywhere at the b file, right? Can't go there or there because of the bishop, can't go there because of the knight, okay? So really the only square is going to be c2. If queen c2, I might have rook here. I don't know, we shall see. Oh, there's one other square. He finds queen to a3. Okay, so obviously he didn't like queen c2, but at this point I don't have time to figure out why. But we'll see in the review in a sec. Okay, and so he plays queen a3, so he's blocking Andy. Now it's Harry time. Okay, and almost I'm feeling like I want to distract him from something. Okay, he's got 3 attackers on this knight. The knight's surely going to fall. Knight takes, and now I come up with another plan. Okay, pause if you need, and try and come up with a way of possibly checkmating black if you're white in this position. Okay. So the move that and there is a bit of hope in this. Move I play is bishop takes c3. And what I'm hoping for, which is not what is played, I'm hoping for rook takes. Okay? Because if rook takes, I have rook b8 check. The king only has 1 square. King has to come here. Queen comes here with check, right? The king only has 1 square. There's only 2 legal moves. g6 or there. If here, I have this, and that would be checkmate, okay? So he would have to play g6, then queen here, okay? And that is also checkity mate. So that's what I see. Proud of myself for that one, right? However, my opponent is more cunning than this. He figures it out and he captures with the queen. I capture on a4 with my queen. Right, he is now up a knight and a pawn. This is his advantage, right? However, I'm threatening mate in 1. So he's got to do something. He creates an escape square. And now, what would we do? Rook b8 check. He blocks. And now, and literally he's running out of time, he's like 9 minutes now, yeah? Now I see I can win material. Why? This is the principle of the overworked defender. The queen is the only defender of the rook and the only defender of the knight. Rook takes rook, queen has to take because he's in check. I take the knight. I'm down a pawn at this point. He wants to trade queens. Do we trade queens, boys and girls? Do we buggery? Right? Come round here. Right? Ideas of checks. Again. He takes a pawn with check. I move my king. He comes here with check. I move my king. He takes my pawn with check. I move my king. And here he doesn't check me again, right? Because my king will just quite happily go backwards and forwards, right? My best hope really at this point is a draw. So he moves his king now to h7. However, he has missed something. That this pawn is hanging. I grab it. Check. King back. Right? He wants to win, right? So he can't just keep checking me, right? And having his clock run down, okay? Pushes his pawn. No good. Queen takes f5. Check. Right? If this now, that's not going to be very good. You know? I could take the pawn. I could probably force a perpetual. Right? So that's not going to work. So he plays, obviously, king h8. And then the game ends with queen c8, check. Only 1 legal move. King there. And he offers a draw because he sees that we're going to have a perpetual with a queen going back in there. and we shake hands, and it's a draw. Right, that's the game. Very interesting. The good news, however, is actually on the desk next to me, and I don't know if this was put on purpose, right? I see the match score sheet. I see that game 2 has finished in Chesterfield's favour, which is my team. Game 3 finished in Chesterfield's favour, right? So we are 2-0 at this point. Still going on is my game on table 4, on board 4, and the board 1 game as well. So actually, with my draw, with me managing to secure a draw in this game, we win the match. Okay, and then the game on table 1. So everyone's now standing around table 1. So our player has got about 8 minutes left on his clock. The visitors player, the nomads player, has got 5 minutes left on his clock. It's all very interesting. And then our guy, our board 1 guy, goes in with an attack with a knight, leaves his knight in line with his king, gets the knight pinned on the king, loses the knight, and ends up resigning a few moves later. So if I'd have lost that game, right? This is how exciting it is. I'm loving it. I'm really loving it. I can't wait to do it again. You know, if I'd have lost, the match would have been a draw, right? But because I managed to secure a draw, we won and we get the points. How cool is that, right? And you know, congratulations all round. You know, I definitely scored some brownie points. However, let us revisit the game now with evaluation on. And I'll put the lines on as well, because I would like to learn, right, how could I have done better? Okay, so we will start. Okay, so we have the carreau, and the computer says this is fine. E6. Now, I didn't like E6 too much. I didn't rate it, and the computer's now saying the immediate knight C3 is the way to go. Okay, this is stockfish on level depth 20. Now, obviously, you know, I wish I'd played knight c3. Okay, because this knight and this bishop were a pain for me for much of the game. Okay, I play bishop d3, which is the computer's second suggestion, and still we're absolutely fine. This is saying c5 or de. Okay, he doesn't play either of those. He plays his knight out. And now it says e5 is the move. Correct. Okay. I'm half a pawn in front. Get in, hunting. Right? So yes, I've made 4 pawn moves actually. Right? 4 pawn moves. But his knight has to retreat. Okay, his knight retreats. Actually, that's less good. His knight should, according to the fish, knight should have gone back to g8 anyway. Now it says f4 is the move. I do play f4 later. Okay, we're okay here. He pushes. I have to push c3. Everything else is worse. I push c3. He should take, or knight c6. He takes. I have to take back with the pawn. Okay. Knight takes is -2. -2. So I play the correct move, right? And I'm actually doing okay here. Right, he brings out his knight. Now it's saying I should play f4 or bishop c2. Dropping the bishop back, that's interesting. I play queen c2 and it doesn't like that. It says no, 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 that will not do at all. And it's unprincipled, of course it's unprincipled. So bishop c2, dropping back the bishop. Why? And now it's saying f4 is better. f4, grabbing the space, keep the queen out. Well, the queen can't go there anyway. But f4, saying f4, take the space, bishop c2, or even h4, saying harry to harry 4. Wow. Anyway, so I do that, and the computer says no, that is no, 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 and here we realise why. And queen d2 is the best move. Yes. f6 or knight takes, queen takes is best. Okay, it's the only move really. Okay. Now it's saying he should play b5. Or bishop e7. He plays bishop e7. Good. Okay. And now I should castle, which I do. He should castle, which he does. Now let's see. Now it's still saying f4. It really wants me to push f4. Right, especially now I've got a rook behind the pawn. It says just push the damn pawn, he's saying. But he slightly favours black. The fish likes black now. Knight to here. It wasn't hugely in favour of that. Slightly inaccurate. Now it says e takes is the move. It's saying bust it open. But it means giving up my nice advanced pawn. I don't do that, I play this. Now it says f should take. He doesn't take. Now it still says e should take. E should take here. But my issue is I don't really want to open up his stuff. I don't really want to open up the board. Right now, this kind of suits me more than it suits him because I've got more scope. Also, he's got 2 bishops, I've only got 1. So I play this, plays that. Still it's saying, Hunty, take the damn pawn. I don't take the damn pawn, and this is at least inaccurate. It doesn't like this at all. Okay. That's not bad. It says queen g3 is the best move here for white. And that's what I play. He has to push g6 or rook f7. Rook f7. And we're now equal. We're now bang equal. Now it's saying f5. And I did think about this, but I just couldn't calculate that far, you know? How do you calculate a position like this? You know, what's going to happen? There's so many moving parts. It's just ridiculous. It's saying don't even save the rook. But rook f3 is the second move, and that's what I play. So I'm quite happy with my accuracy on the whole. Just a couple of rash moves, really. He pushes. Again, we're now close to equal. Drop my queen back. He didn't like that. What should I have played? Rook to e3. Or queen back to e1. Rook e3. Looks a bit awkward for the rook. But anyway, I play this. It's not in favour of that. Rook here. Says now queen e1 or rook e3 again. I don't do that. And now it says I'm losing. After a4. Which is what's played. Funny old move from me that to put my knight there. I just ran out of ideas. So here, queen e1 or rook e3. I guess rook e3 with the idea of giving this knight a better square to go to. Yeah, my knight does belong on there. Obviously my rook can't go there and I don't want to put it there and trade off. So that's why rook e3. It's not particularly the benefit of the e3 square, it's the fact that all the other ones are no good. Okay, so this is just bad, and now I'm -4. His knight comes in, and it says knight f1 is the best move here, followed by queen g3. I play queen g3. And my opponent now should be winning. Knight e4 is the best move. He retreats. That's a mistake. Knight e4 would have forced the trade. DE is saying. So D should take. Interesting. But anyways, knight comes back. Now kind of getting in everyone's way. Rook e3 is the best move again. I play this. Another mistake. Wow. And then bishop h4 is the better move. Yeah, I was looking at this move quite a lot and just trying to be careful. Bishop h4 would have forced queen h3. And then bishop e2. Wow. I mean, my queen's certainly worse on h3. So he plays this immediately. Queen e1 is the best move. I don't do that, and this is losing because of bishop bishop h4 now would have forced my queen to h2. Ugh! And forced it out of the game. Yeah. So I think my opponent at this point was just feeling really happy with himself that he was going to win material and stopped looking for other ways to inflict pain, which I'm quite glad about. But so anyway, I do this, which he doesn't like at all. I'm in a losing position. Knight comes back, mistake. Queen e1's best. I play queen there. Kind of similar. Bishop should take, yes. Knight should take, yes. Good. And now, see, I never go through my games in this much detail. But this is how you improve, really is. Queen e3 is best move here. I played bishop e3. It's a bit worse. Okay, now queen f1 I should play. I retreat my knight. Okay, knight e1, yes, best move. So I am playing quite accurate moves, but from a bad position. Now king h2 is best. I do play king h2 quite soon. Double up. Knight back there again, doesn't like. What should I have played here? Knight back to e1. That's a very stockfishy move. Okay, so he comes back. I should play knight g3. He says my knight's offside there. Play bishop here. Queen there. Knight g3's here. Well, he says trade queens or knight blocks. Knight blocks. He says rook c2 now. Yes, that's what's played. Good. King h2 is the best move. Key. So I'm finding some best moves, but I've made life difficult for myself, haven't I? Now it's saying rook c8 is okay. Knight e7 is okay. Yeah, knight... Oh, hang on. Knight e7. So it brings the rook back. Just play through these moves because they're a bit fussy. Better move there would have been queen e... Okay, well queen e3 was apparently the best move. Okay. Rook c to c8. Nope. He's saying get the rook out of there. Bishop c3 here is the best move. Yeah, I did think about this. Why didn't I play that? I played this, whereas this would have trapped the rook behind enemy lines. So what's the difference? Bishop c3 on -2. Knight e2 on -2.3. It's not a huge difference. Okay, and back there was not the best move. He should have played bishop takes b4. I should have taken the knight, which was an option. Okay. Whew, this is kind of ugly reading, isn't it? Bishop takes, yes. Still -3, right? My opponent is in a completely winning position. Knight e7, best move. Rook g1 now. Knight there. I'm just clinging on to a very bad position. Now it's saying I should push b3. That's interesting. Push b3 forces a trade. There takes, rook takes. He's saying he should lift his rook here. I'm just going to play through now. We've seen the moves. And I'm looking at the analysis to see if there's anything that... Okay, this was a mistake. If I play knight b5. I don't... Right, what's good about knight b5? Let's look at that. I'm attacking this rook. I'm threatening this as well. So he has to play his rook here or here, right? Yeah, rook c2 is a move. Is it? Rook c2? Then bishop c3 it's saying? Wow. Okay, so there were opportunities. Now I'm only -1.4, whichever way we go. But what I do with bishop, rook c1, that was another mistake. Wow, okay. So I missed a good knight move here, which is not my style. And with a great outpost opportunity as well. And a fork. Really I should have seen that. But I'm thinking defensively. I forgot to think offensively. Queen there. Queen back. It's still just complete dog dirt. Bishop f2 is the best move. Good. So again, I mean, it's saying he should win. He's +2 in material. He's up an exchange in material. But it's saying he's still +4. Should play queen e2. I don't. Wow. I thought that move was all right. Best move here, queen d1. Just stepping the queen back. Okay. Also, you have to remember that the fish doesn't understand psychology or time pressure. Okay, a should take, yes. Queen should take. Anyway, so we'll play through the moves quite quickly now. It says I'm dead lost. Objectively, I am dead lost, right? If my opponent had all the time in the world, he would have wiped the floor with me. And that was a blunder. That was a blunder because of rook b1, which I find. You are lying. The computer now says that a3 is the best move for black. Giving up the queen. Queen b3 is the second best move for black. And then queen a3 is third best. He plays queen a3, doesn't he? And now it is actually an equal position. Well, bugger me. Sideways. Rook b8 check, and we are 0, 0, 0, 0. I don't do that, that's a blunder. Because of queen f8. What? Let's see this. Rook here. And he has to. Yeah, I saw he could block with his rook, okay? Right, nothing else works. He has to block with the rook. Rook takes, rook takes. Then I get the knight. Oh, man, I missed it. I missed it. And I'm equal. I'm equal. Here. It's the exact same tactic that worked later on. Okay? Rook here. Blocks. Remove the overworked defender. Oh my days. Right. Anyway, so it says that sucked. He said that was, oh man, dead lost, dead lost. Bishop takes his best. Queen must take. Rook takes is not even in the charts. I was praying on rook takes. Let's just see what happens, what the eval says if rook takes. Bang. Yeah. But like I say, hope chess there. Okay, but queen takes. And white's got nothing. Absolutely nothing, right? Rook b8 is the best move here. Okay, I take there. I should have already lost, according to the machine. Escape squares is all good. I'm still dead lost. If he plays king f7, it's mate in 1. Yes, well, he didn't. Okay, so he blocks with a rook, which is still okay. Takes, takes, takes. And now, if he plays queen c4, which I think he does, it's still got black -8. Wow! And we'll just play through. I just want to see the eval. It says I'm lost, I've lost, I'm already on my way home, I'm crying into my tea. Okay. says that wasn't fantastic because of queen takes e6, which is what we get. Me, forced. If queen f2 here, it's equal, but no, and that is a blunder. Right, Dave just blinked and stepped off the mark. Queen takes f5, and we are drawn, boys and girls. And indeed, we are. It's a draw. And that's how it finished. Wow. So what have I learned from this? I think this analysis has been really good, you know. Because here's the thing about analysis. When you analyse your own games, it shows you the next steps. It shows you what's just outside of the area that you're thinking, right? So you've got this area of chess knowledge and combined with chess imagination, right? But there's a greater world, a greater universe of chess knowledge and chess imagination that's out there. There are moves that the fish just found that I didn't even consider. But if I had considered them and worked them out, I might have gone, ah. So there's a danger with deciding that this is the critical thing on the board right now, and then you stop thinking about anything else, right? But this is, I mean, what a simple game. You can learn the rules in 10 minutes, and you can't master the game in a lifetime. You can't complete it, right? And that's what's so great about it. But the experience, well, first of all, 2 hours goes quite quick, right, when you're over the board. I was worried I wouldn't be able to concentrate for that length of time. I shouldn't have been too worried about that. The psychology is even more real and present and tangible when you're playing face-to-face. Very interesting stuff. And it's just really exciting. It's really exciting, and you know, the best thing of all, almost, is that giving myself the opportunity to pit myself against a human being face to face, which is just, you know, it's different, qualitatively, completely different. But going that deep into a game is fascinating. So I'm going to hit game review now, and it's going to say black. Black all the way until suddenly, oh no, right? There we go. But we both played, I played more accurately, 76.4 against 76.3, and I only had one blunder in the game. Would you Adam and Eve it? Would you Adam and Eve it? Hell's teeth. My opponent blundered 3 times. Wow. So his first blunder, knight back here. Yeah, knight should have gone in here, it said, yeah. And his second blunder was, yeah. And of course at the end, he shouldn't have done that, right? My blunder was h4. Misses the only good move, which was that. So actually losing my rook earlier on was not a blunder. Interesting stuff. Yeah, this is an error because the next move is this, yeah. So the best move here is to move my rook out of harm's way. 2e3, there you go. So yeah, love it, really enjoyed it. And I know that by playing 2-hour-long games, I'm going to be working out, guys. I'm going to be stretching my brain. It's definitely going to make me a stronger player. And also being around, you know, other players. You know, there were, 8 of us playing yesterday, and our first team top board guy showed up as well. You know, 2,000 plus FIDE. Yeah, I was about the weakest player in the room, but I have the opportunity to learn and analyse with other players as well. So if you can find a local chess club near you, you know, we pay nothing for this. You have to get in England, it's English Chess Federation, whatever membership costs about £18 a year to be registered, and then you can go ahead and get a FIDE rating eventually, which would be wonderful, you know. But yeah, and it costs the price of a pint. You know, the club doesn't even pay the pub for the upstairs room. So I really would encourage you, go and do this. Go and do this. You'll enjoy it. You know, I know my mate Tony has started playing over the board. He's set up a chess club. Yeah, and he's getting a kick out of it. I definitely am too. So there you go. So there's the result, guys. The game I managed to rescue, but to me, that's a personal victory. Playing over the board, very, very different. Just, you know, you can't see it in the same way, right? It takes different bits of your brain to seeing it in 2D on the screen. But yeah, wonderful experience. And managed to help my team win on the day. So I'm a very happy camper. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. See you soon.